Hi everyone, welcome to your July 2023 reading. I almost said session. It's such a pleasure to work for you guys. You guys know what's up. These readings are ultimately timeless and signless, so you don't have to have any significant natal placements in any sign in order for this reading to be for you. And you don't have to be watching this reading at the time that it's being published. You can watch it 40 years from now. As long as it resonates for you, then it's for you. However, if you do watch this video and you find that some parts don't resonate or none of it resonates, I would invite you to take a step back, allow the energies to unfold a little bit more, and then come back and start to watch again, because chances are that it just hasn't met your threshold to be consciously observed, okay? But it was strong enough to be able to manifest into your reality to the point that you turned it on and you started watching. So it's pretty strong. That being said, if you'd like to work more personally with me, you know exactly where to find me. Yeah, we do everything. So bada bing, bada boom. All right, so let's jump in. So what I'm feeling for the month of July, I almost said January, so that's a little bit significant there. Some of you may be still processing some heartbreak from January is what I'm getting. There may be some deep clearings that are still going on for us that have been going on for, I guess, over the past month, and of course past few months. It's just been it's been a crazy year, guys. And as I'm talking to you, I'm feeling my throat chakra really aching. It's like I'm trying to, you know what it feels like, there's a bulge in there and it's like I'm sobbing kind of. So I'm getting from the collective consciousness right now that there is, well, a lot not to be sad about, but a lot that people are sad about. And why is that? Well, it's pretty simple. It's because our grief is surfacing. As you may well know, we've been going through some really unprecedented times now with a lot of energetic upheaval. And a lot of that energetic upheaval is just pretty much thanks to the higher frequencies that are coming onto the earth, from the sun, from, astrological influences. We've got Schumann resonance frequencies that are off the chain right now. There's a lot going on. And for some of you who will be coming up to your birthdays, yay, shout out, our lovely Cancerian energies and our lovely Leonine energies. Well, the guides are making a special nod to you guys, giving you a special note that some things are going to be unfolding that are out of your control around this time, you birthday buddies. And the reason why is because it's kind of like they're linking it to your birthday in the sense that you're closing up a cycle related to your solar year, or rather the year between your birthdays. And it's just how things go. But I do want to say that for you birthday buddies, I do feel a little bit like there are also some surprises. Oh yeah, they're so sweet in the works. I'm like perplexed. I'm like, surprises? I feel the energy of surprise. And they're like, oh yeah, well, duh, birthdays, you get surprises too. So happy birthday. So some of that's coming down the pipe for you. All right, so let's start to take a look. Oh, my throat. Ugh, okay, hold on. Let me let my throat... Oh, excuse me, I had to yawn. There's so much energy there. So guys, stiff upper lip. All of us together, stiff upper lip. It's interesting that we hear stiff upper lip. I just want to say, because when our lips are trembling, it's never, at least for me, it's and on TV, right? It's never the top lip, it's the bottom lip. The bottom lip starts trembling first. It's like, right? That was the sound of it trembling. So I guess stiff lower lip as well. We're doing our best. So, yeah, let's move in. Let's move in. What was that about? Okay. So maybe that's a message for somebody. I was going to say, let's move on. So as we can see here, I don't know if you guys can see it, we've got two cards here. I haven't even shuffled, by the way. I just put these down, but as I'm looking, universe, spirit, whatever, the energies use, whatever is before us, we see two people playing some type of instrument. And, what's lying in the middle is you. So what I'm getting here, and look, it literally says destiny. Oh, and astrology, right? So again, what I was saying is that a lot of us have been moving to the tune of our happy little bubble for so long. Now, I say happy little bubble, 4 minutes, 44 seconds, but if we're keeping it all the way 100, these bubbles that we've been living in have not been the happiest. In fact, let's tone it down and say they've been the most familiar. Now, as we all know, the question is, why do we continue to entertain people, places, things, situations, ideas that actually do not bring us happy and joyful feelings, and that actually do not trigger positive movements within the heart space, the heart chakra? And the reason why is because trauma, because we hold trauma within the field, because we have grief within the field, because we have unloving beliefs, conditioning, things like that, that call us to, or that compel us when we're not in a space of mindfulness, because mindfulness and consciousness is what allows us to disrupt our behavioral patterns and our belief patterns, right? But these densities within our field, these lower level vibrations, they orient our field in such a way that what is not good for us, we pull in, and we there's a sense of familiarity sometimes with that, because we've been conditioned to love, quote unquote, in certain ways. And so love to us that is familiar is actually pretty toxic, right? And so when we are in these lower vibrations, we're going to find appealing, even we're going to find comfortable, we're going to find accessible things that are toxic, and it's going to be something some people will just settle for and will live within. And then we have reinforcing thoughts like that are unconscious, like, oh, this is all I'm good for, this is all I could ever get, or I have to go back to school to educate myself, and I have to be smart, and I have to do this if I want to do that, right? And so you see, we're trapped in bubbles that, as the guides were saying, aren't really the happiest, but they can be the most familiar. Thank you, guys. And the guides are saying they can be the most tonally acceptable. And it's interesting that they're saying tonally, because they want to remind us that we are vibrational beings, we are frequency beings, we move by frequency, and so what we're doing is we navigate our world by way of tones. We gravitate towards things by way of tones, and things that are not a vibrational match to us, that do not strike a harmonic resonance within us, will not manifest and come close for us, right? So that's why they say, if you spot it, you got it. You may not really, sorry about that, those are my blinds. You may not feel like, oh, you're seeing something on the news or something on TV, or you're hearing something around the way about someone you know, or some harrowing story, something horrible that gets your eye, or it gets your goat, grinds your gears, as Peter Griffin says, or it makes you angry, it makes you gives you an electrical charge, whatever. But you may see those things, and you may think, oh, that has nothing to do with me, or whatever, I'm on my way, I'm going on the rest of my day. But what you don't realize is you were even able to perceive of those things. Why? Because they are a vibrational match to you. There's a harmonic resonance that is strong enough within your field that it has magnetized that thing out of all the things, out of all the energies in all of the universe. You find yourself here in this moment, in this second, and in all of the places you could have looked to your right. You could have blinked at that moment. You could have bent down to tie your shoe, whatever. It happened that you just your eyes, something, whatever that thing is, caught your attention. Your eyes fell on it. You noticed it long enough to have an opinion about it. So you see, things that we take for granted and we dismiss are so significant. And so that's why when we say do not throw stones in a glass house, we all know that, because who wants to be sharded up with all these shards, right, that are falling? I mean, we all saw that scene in Ghost, right, with window pane. I'll leave it that way. But that being said, the problem, or the issue that most people have, if not all, many, well, not obviously not all, because I'm here talking about it, so, right, too many people have, the issue is that they do not realize they are in a glass house. And that's the whole point of the glass house. You don't realize that you're in it because it's all made of glass and you don't see it. And so we judge. If you are of a judgmental character, you will judge other people. And if you're not in your heart space, you will judge them unlovingly. And a lot of people who sit in that place of judgment will cite things like, oh, well, it's smart to be judgmental. You have to judge what's going on in your life. Otherwise, you're going to be a dupe. You're going to fall for everything. There is a big difference and it's all heart-based. There's a huge difference between judgment and discernment, and that's something that a lot of people are learning to do. Just as when we learn, we start off super sweetly in preschool, super funs, and we move up in levels, and then we go into post-secondary school, all of that, and then let's say we graduate. Just as when you go into do your master's and PhD programs, your ability to first of all acknowledge and address and analyze and assess complex information, and hopefully your ability to do so with as little bias as you can, that is a far cry more nuanced a skill set than if you're out here, trying to put a star into a round hole. We all love that game. We all love it. But the point I'm trying to say is the same way that you see that advancement in skill set is the same way you should be approaching your life from an energetic standpoint. Understanding that the more spiritually advanced you get, the more you should be able to process energy in more sophisticated ways. The more you're able to allow for things, 11 minutes, 11 seconds, like paradox. The more that you are able to understand deeper and more complex assessments and interpretations of things like signs. Because if you're not aware of how energy flows, you're going to think you see signs everywhere, but you're not realizing that all you're doing is creating a confirmation bias for yourself, in the sense that you have a belief, oh, does he love me, does he not, right? And if he loves me, send me a flower, or send me this, or send me whatever. When you see those things, you don't realize at 11 minutes 44 seconds, but you're just confirming what it is that you want to be the case, because you will see into that moment what you want to be the case. And it doesn't mean that there aren't such things as real signs and real communiques being sent from beyond your level of consciousness and beyond your energetic sphere and sent to you. And that happens quite often in many different formats. The issue is the buck stops with you and your capacity to interpret, to see, to perceive, and all of that. Let me rephrase that. The buck stops with you and your ability and your capacity to even perceive of something. And then even more so, this is where the sophistication comes in, your ability to interpret it. And so those two alone, the ability to perceive and the ability to interpret, create like a whole spectrum of reality for so many people. And so that's why we try to have conversations with each other, but we do not understand that you're usually speaking from two different places altogether. And Lord knows when people start picking up things to hurt each other and kill each other, this is no wonder karma is out here, because people are just not grasping this reality. So what I'm trying to say very quickly is, using that example of signs, if you are not really if you are on the beginning end of that spectrum, you'll see everything as a sign. If you are a little bit further along, you'll start to understand that what you may see as a sign may actually not be a sign. It could possibly be explained by something else, by your conditioning, for example, by your moment, the mood that you're in, what you need in the moment. Sometimes people need comfort in the moment because of something that they're not understanding is resonant and is active in their field. Something has triggered them and they don't perceive of that, and so they have a certain thing that they want, or certain interaction, and now I'm calling my ex-boyfriend because whatever. You see, you start to see things in a warped way through your unprocessed grief, right? Then so you see a sign and you're like, you can read anything into it. So that's why, now skipping a little bit to another analogy, but just to show you using the same one, that's why it's important when the guides say, it's very important for us to, sorry, I'm laughing at myself. It's very important for us to remember the value of shadow work. And shadow work means basically just doing your inner work. Inner work being defined as not being afraid to look at who you are being, not being afraid to look at the real thoughts and the real feelings and the real opinions that you hold about things in your life, without shaming yourself for it or guilting yourself for it. Maybe you really harbor some beliefs and perceptions that you're ashamed to be holding, because that kind of person is not someone that you want to be known as, right? So you see, that kind of self-reflexive activity that is not having love with it, not having self-love, self-understanding, self-compassion, self-care. This is why love and the heart frequency is so important, because when we put love into it, we see differently. We see ourselves and we can acknowledge this is where we are right now, understand how we got there, love ourselves, feed ourselves, nourish ourselves with whatever it is that we think we need in that moment, and also understand that you can still have those ideas and those perceptions, but choose to make a more loving decision. Case in point, very simply put, somebody in a small town that maybe is not very open to people who don't look like them, people who don't act like them, people who don't sound like them, people who don't make the same amount of money, who don't have the same education level. And that's up and down. You could be on one end and observe others from that end. You can be another end and observe others from that end, whatever it is. But maybe you're in a town like that that's very, let's use the summary word, intolerant, right? And not only do people notice these differences, but they are not in their heart space, so they attach a meaning to it. There's intolerance. They start to allow that difference that they've observed. There's nothing wrong with observing things, but they've allowed that difference that they've observed without an active heart chakra to inform their reality, their worldview about who deserves what, who's capable of doing what, right? What someone's worthy of, which is the same as deservability, what role that those people should play in society, all sorts of stuff. So you see how toxic this is, and then it goes on to generation to generation, because you are embodying a certain frequency. These are frequencies that are toxic, not only to the people who are in your space and captive audiences like children who now are forced to kind of harmonize and resonate and vibrate with your stuff, right? But also you're intoxicating yourself, because these beliefs are not real. They're actually toxic to your system, but their conditioning is there. The heart is not active, and so now you're living in a swamp. This is a swamp, right? And so let's say you dwell in a society like that, or a city like that, and you have a job where you hire and fire, and now it is your turn to hire some people, and somebody who doesn't fit the societal mold there of what is acceptable is applying for the job. And maybe you see on paper, wow, this person is actually exactly, if we just transplanted this resume and this person's interview and everything into someone who we felt more comfortable with, because it's really not a reflection of the person applying, but a reflection of your ability and the society's ability to process that and to fit themselves into relation with that other, right? It's all an inside job, and it's really only a reflection of how people feel about themselves. But anyway, so now you're in this moment where it's like, should I hire this person? Should I not? What do I do? And that's a really good example of how we start to make decisions that affect not only ourselves, it always affects us, whether we are aware of it or not, and we will have to come to that judgment, self-judgment, once we transition, right? But it's also affecting other people, and not only on the physical plane, in the sense like, oh, maybe you let it get in the way, you decided to turn this person away, and now this person doesn't have a job, they can't feed their family, and really it's kind of unfair, because that could have been something they were the right fit for. The company could have, it could have been a moment where the company could have become better as a unit and taught the community and, made the place happier in some way, right? We'll never know, right? So it's not only that in the physical, a missed opportunity, as we say, an MO, a missed opportunity, but it's also having major reverberations that maybe a lot of people are just not realizing, but major reverberations in the energetic space. Because what we do when we make these decisions, when we vibrate with certain energies and frequencies, is that we are conditioning the field where we are. We are programming the field where we are. And that's why whenever we need to change a system, we need an interrupter. We need a service interruption. And that's kind of like a nod to the last video that the guides put out. My hands did it, but you know what I'm saying, that they put out. It was, what was it? The moon in Scorpio, the one we just did not too long ago. Service interruption. That was in the title. We need people who are outside of the system frequency wise. And let's not even get stuck in the physical, like we need someone who's different. Like, no, let's look at the energy. We need someone who energetically vibes at a higher frequency to come into this low density area and to upset it. Because when we have a high frequency energy where the vibrations per second are higher than the lower density where it's less, that is going to create a disturbance in the field. And the hope is that when that higher frequency comes in, it's strong enough for any other frequencies in the low density frequency, like look here, to start to rattle and start to change its frequency to get into alignment with the frequency that is higher. So that's what we see in relationships, for example, where one person starts to get on their journey, they start eating healthier, they start consuming better media, higher vibrational media, they start to really watch their words, they start to get healthy, they start to show up more authentically. What they're doing is they're getting rid of the low density frequencies within their field, and now they're vibrating faster. So that's why their frequency is higher. When the frequency is higher, they are able to take on higher consciousness. There's a direct correlation. 21 minutes, 21 seconds. There you go, right? There's a direct correlation. And what happens is when that one partner starts to do better, as we say, if the other partner is not able to, the hope is, well, what's this person going to do, right? Are they going to remain at their level of speed, at their speed, their vibrations, their frequency? If so, now the two are not compatible. But there's going to be some tension here until this energy makes a decision about whether to become more of a harmonic and vibrational match with this other energy, which is stronger here, or whether it's going to be jettisoned out because it cannot harmonize with that. What happens sometimes is the density is so low and it's so strong that the person who is vibing higher kind of is unable to hold on to their higher frequency, 22 minutes, 22 seconds, and they get pulled down too. So you see, what happens is we live in a harmonic world. We resonate with things. Wow, that really touched me. That really resonated with me. That means that the frequency came into your field and it was a vibrational match. You felt it. So a great example that I've seen before is a tuning fork. If you put one tuning fork, super cute, the ones that look like this, and you're like, bing, you do that, bing, you put one, it starts to, and you hit it, it starts to resonate with a certain tone. If you just put another tuning fork next to it, this one will start to resonate with that tone. Right? That's how that works. That's how we work. See what they're doing here? They're resonating. So that's why the guides say that one of the main things that we can do for energetic hygiene, making sure that our energy is clean and well maintained, is to be mindful of what frequencies you surround yourself around with. That's the people. Those are the places you go to. Some places are very, very toxic. Could be because of the land. It could be because of the energy people are spewing into it. It could be all sorts of stuff. Also, the food you eat is going to have its own resonance, right? That's going to come into your body and affect your field. The media, listen, we all love variety. We all love media. We all love music. But I just want to let you know that not all of these vibrational frequencies are healthy and for your well-being. And you live in a free will universe, and free will is one of the laws of this planet. Some of you are like, I doubt it, and that's because of the conditioning and the takeover that's happened, right? So the programming that's happened. That's why we're here to interrupt that. This is your service interruption. We're interrupting that to bring you another opportunity to get out of the low density. So now they're kind of coming around to show you a little bit of what's happening when we have these lovely energies coming in, these angelic energies, these benevolent ET beings. Remember, they're not all of them are harsh and negative. In fact, a lot of them are not, right? When our galactic cousins is a better way to say it, when our galactic cousins try to come through, and some of them are embodied in human form, okay? Some of them look like you and me because they chose to come into a body, just like you chose to come into a body, but they're not from here. They're from somewhere else, right? And so all these beings, when they come in, they try to bring this knowledge. The knowledge, the energy, the frequency is different. And it's coming in to try to reach you so that you can start to understand it, so that you can hopefully vibrate with that frequency. And that frequency is usually higher because there's love involved, there's sovereignty involved, there's reminders involved. People are just trying to get you to wake up and to become 25 minutes, 25 seconds to wake up and to become more of a conscious mind actor in your own life. That's all that is. And the way that you look for people in general, human beings or non-physical beings, if that's who you're connecting with in a conscious level, you look for those who want to take your power. If there are people who want to take your power away from you, who want to usurp your energy, who want to superimpose their will upon yours, and whether it's just in a conversation or in actions, in legislation and whatever, in a meditation, if a being tries to come in and over these things, it's universal. You're not in the realm of a friend. You're in the realm of a foe. And this is the high level discernment that you're being asked to consider. And it's, some people may get a little bit of afraid when they're like, oh, well, now we're going to open up to all of these other entities and these beings and stuff. I would invite you to realize you have always been amongst the non-physical. It is not them that is changing. It is you. You are now evolving. You have evolved to a point in your life where you're able to perceive of that. And that's why it just so happens this video comes across your path and other things come across your path. Now you may start to think it's everywhere. It's always been here. We've had people doing this work, pioneers, for decades. You just weren't ready to receive it. Or rather to perceive it. So now that it's starting to be enter into the level of perception for so many people on this planet, God bless, now we have to do a quick mass training for people to understand how to make that transition from, where I'm perceiving of something and understanding that just because you're seeing a light doesn't mean, oh my God, it's the Holy One, it's the this and that. No, that's old school stuff. You're seeing something, you're perceiving something, you have to start to understand how to analyze what you're engaging in, what you are picking up on, and to assess and to discernment. As I always say, discernment, it's it's not the D that we all know and love. It's not the D that you want. It's the D that you need, okay? That's what discernment is. And discernment is not only for the streets of New York. You just came out of Kansas and Nebraska and now you're in New York and you're like, oh my God, I'm learning, right? That's discernment. Yeah, for example, shout out to my Midwesterns, but or even let's say Hollywood. And you've got a lot of people coming into Hollywood to be an actor and actress from around the world, and they don't understand. You have to have the discernment. But we all know that now. It's kind of a trope now. We all get it. Somebody comes in from somewhere where they're virtually innocent. They come into something more advanced or more whatever you want to put in there, more nuanced, that calls them to have to step into greater discernment. And what's going to happen? They're going to have to learn how to function in this new place, because where they just were, the rules are a little bit different. But the thing is here that now we're looking at it in terms of our future. Our future in the age of Aquarius is going to be one where humanity is capable of perceiving of something beyond itself. It's maturation. Every planet goes through this. Every conscious species goes through this. We just are kind of aware of Earth because we're just still in our infancy. And that's why the guides are trying to get us to drop into the heart space, get into the correct frequency for viewing the world. Now, one may wonder, well, why is the heart frequency so correct, Jay? And I would say the reason why on 29 minutes, 29 seconds is because the energetic frequencies that are emitted from the heart space are tantamount to who you are. That's verbatim. I'm like, thank God, guys. Yeah, help me out with that one. It's tantamount to who you are. The whole point is returning to who you are. And so when you're outside of yourself, you're like sitting ducks. And we need you to open up enough for you to bring more of who you are into this frame that you are, because in a sense our frames are very feeble. So we need to open up our heart space, open up the energetic frequency, activate it, bring these energies in. These energies are what? Your own higher energies. You have more energy to bring into your field. And in fact, when you are having these energetic downloads and these light codes and all these astrological influences that are leading you to get rid of lower densities in your field, and you're doing your shadow work and all of that, what you're doing is you're clearing out your energetic space. Oh, and also when you're doing your clearings, energy clearings and stuff, you're clearing out your energetic space so more of your divine frequency, your higher frequencies can come in. And that's really what's happening. And that's happening for each individual, and it's happening across the planet. And that's the whole hope. The hope is as we open up, as individuals, as a people, as a collective consciousness, is going to raise the vibration of the holy space that we're in, the space that we're in, right? And so, so that's why, it's very cut and dry from that standpoint. So long story short, what you've been experiencing recently, if some of you have been experiencing a lot of ascension symptoms, you've been feeling sluggish, low, you've been having a lot of fears come up, entity attachments coming up, 31 minutes, 31 seconds, a lot of grief, you've been having tumult in your life, maybe your cash flows, all sorts of changes are happening. Why? Because the energy is changing, and it's having a resonant effect, obviously, in your physical life. And that's why, as the guides always talk about, what happens in the non-physical is going to then become a carbon copy, in a sense, in your physical. So we talked about that in terms of health. When we start to develop things in the body, whether it's you getting a scratch because your cute hand hit the doorknob by mistake, ow, I got a scratch, or whether a random baseball comes and clocks you out of nowhere and you're like, what? Accidents, or whether you develop an ailment that may eventually take your life or may debilitate you, or even just a flu or whatever. These are only able to manifest within your physical body because your body, your energetic field is a harmonic resonance to them. Now, a lot of you may be like, but why? Well, it has a lot to do with the way that we live. It has a lot to do, actually has everything to do with belief systems, but at the core level, but that's a whole nother thing the guys always talk about. But your core beliefs, number one. Let me just comment on that. A lot of people, you may hear, oh, we can just believe ourselves into better health. The answer is yes, you can. But the missing link, a lot of people realize, is that they have to deprogram themselves. So they may not be able to gather the level of belief that is necessary to create that resonance within their field, to create that healing, that spontaneous healing, right? There are people out there who do it, and they're probably very good to stay silent about it. Some of them have not been silent about it, and they've probably been persecuted, disappeared, all sorts of stuff. But the point is that some of you can't even suspend, and I'm saying some of you because I'm addressing you, but I'm talking about me too because I'm part of this world, right? But some of you can't even suspend enough belief to change your financial circumstances. How do you think you're going to be able to change your physical surface? They're saying, physical surface, your body, right? Because that's just surface. Thank you. Because first of all, people don't have the correct relationship with their body. They don't see their body for what it is. We love our body. They are temples. They're lovely. We need to feed them. We need to work at the physical level to maintain this physical vessel. But you also have to understand that just like how the guides just interrupted, God bless, and said, surface you're just like how we have our cute little skin. Our skin is the surface of our physical body, but the physical body is the surface of your energetic vehicle, which has different levels of the field. So why do you think that if your energetic field it has multiple levels to it, and your physical body is just one level, why would you think that that body is the driving factor and not the one that receives? Just like the skin is not the thing that is driving our body. The skin is protective, yeah, but it's receiving its orders, it's receiving its secretions, it's receiving all of that from things going on within the body. So that's an important perception to have, right? Okay, so anyway, so so I forgot where I was going with that, but I wanted to make sure I talked about the importance of having proper relationship with the body and understanding the role of the body. Because when you understand that it's physical stuff, then you can start to make the mental shift that you need. This is what collective consciousness is being called to do, to activate their heart, to get on board with the mental shift that is needed in this galactic era. I was going this way, and they're like, let's go this way. Okay, in this galactic era, right? So that will help you with the mental shift that is needed to understand the value and the importance of the non-physical bodies. I would like to let you know that a lot of our Eastern cultures, a lot of our indigenous cultures from around the world, they understand the role of the non-physical. And a lot of those our people who are spearheading different types of healing, like I said, the flower remedies that you drop Bach's flower essences that you drop into your water. You just do boink boink into your water, or a whole jug of water, or whatever you're drinking. That works on the emotional body. It's not going to work on the physical. It works on the emotional. When you understand that when you do things like that, you're taking proper care of your emotional body. People are experimenting now with light therapy, sound therapy. If you understand that you are vibrational beings, of course, when you have that tuning fork example and you put one next to each other, that's why we can understand why in some places you can be surrounded by people, like let's say a whole bunch of monks, and they're chanting at a certain frequency, and you're on the bed in the middle, and they are creating the energetic resonance for you to have that healing experience for yourself. What they're doing is they are creating the vibrational frequency to target whatever part of your body is in need. We see that energy technique, also a similar energy technique with rife frequencies. Excuse me, let me take some water. I like talking nonstop. 1 second. Oh, excuse me. Rife frequencies, RIFE. Where specific, so where whatever the ailment is in your body, there's a frequency for that, right? Looking at the vibrations per second for that, there's a frequency, and the rife machine is set to match that frequency. So it's going to go exactly to that part of your body or wherever that issue is, and it's going to vibrate together. And what's happening is it's going to shatter that's the concept there. And the similar concept to that is when we always laugh at it, but when we see sorry, I'm like, who's laughing? I don't know, but we always laugh at that. But when we see an opera singer singing, and the idea is she hits a certain note and someone's nearby glass shatters, that's because there's a vibrational frequency. So when we're doing healing, and the whole point of sound healing is learning to feel into the body, learning to feel into the ailment, whatever it is, isolate the frequency there, create a harmonic resonance, and heal that, to shatter it, because these energies, these ailments, everything that we experience like I said, is inside the body as structures. So when your friendly local healer, hi, and your friendly local readers are working in your body, and we're moving things, and we're twisting things, and we're sewing things up, and we're dispelling, what we're doing is that we are working with energetic structures in your body, frequencies in your body. Okay, anyway, I'm just gonna let that go. But we the guides are really trying to, and they're pointing out, okay, see, look at me, this is my conscious mind. I'm like, I'm spending too long on the sound stuff, but the guides are like, hello, didn't we just open up with 2 people playing instruments? Okay, I get it. Hey. So yeah, this is why we need to just trust, right? 39 minutes 39 seconds, right? So anyway, so that's what I was saying. Thank you. I was listing some ways that people are now starting to bring more healing into the collective consciousness. And again, as I always say, stop deriding your messengers. Do not be one of those people who speak pejoratively about people who are doing this kind of work, because a lot of times, yes, there are some charlatans, just as in the physical world there are charlatans everywhere, but we have gifts, we have gifted people, we have talented people on the ground who will look right into your energy field and tell you this, that, and the other, and then you will go to your doctors, and hopefully you're also or whoever else you're working with, alternative doctors, and you will start to see there is a correlation. Right? If you're waiting for your mainstream media to tell you how to move, you're going to have to wait about a good 20 more years, 40 minutes, 40 seconds. Do you, boo-boo? I'm just saying, we're out here just trying to create a change in the collective sphere. So we just looked at how some sound therapies are helpful. Light therapy is also helpful because light is frequency as well. Right? Light is frequency. To us, we perceive of certain frequencies along the visible spectrum. If it's one of the frequencies along the visible spectrum, meaning the range of frequencies that we can perceive through our eyes, then we're going to perceive them as a different color, right? But there's so many different colors that are around us that we cannot perceive of through our eyes, and that's just how it is. But your dog's like, hey, I just want to let you know that I saw that over there, right? They can perceive of things we cannot. So remember that humans are limited, and so when we're learning about these things, when God, source, energy, or galactic cousins, people who love us, are benevolent beings and friends in the physical and in spirit, when they come to us to offer these gifts of knowledge, it behooves you to receive it graciously and to seek not to be understood yourself and have them dummy it down for us, but to step outside of yourself, to deprogram the conditioning that you've received, to deride things, and to take it upon yourself to look into it, because within the stuff that's being brought to you in particular, because there's so many things that are not being brought to you but that are very good, but if something makes its way to you, chances are it has application for your health and well-being. And so many times the guides have sent things to people and they're just like, that person's crazy and they're woo-woo and they don't know what they're talking about, they're charlatans, they're fakes, they're frauds, and they don't know that years down the line now they're suffering with some ailment that the answer was provided to them before, the pathway in to receive the answer was provided to them, but they dismissed it, right? So please, this is about having ideological flexibility, understanding the law of harmonics. When things come to you, guess what's happening? You're gravitating, you're pulling it, you're magnetizing it to yourself, right? And you are calling it to yourself, and there's going to be a reason. So light therapy, again, is another thing people are doing. We have scalar healing, which is really helping with the space where you are. Spatial healing is very, very important because, again, it has to do with energy. It has to do with clearing out lower energies, densities, portals that are open. I'm in no story time right now, but just very quickly, I remember I was staying in a house in 2020, and it was haunted, and I remember I had dark circles under my eye. I guess I'm in story time anyway. Story time, popcorn. And I had dark circles under my eye. My sleep was interrupted. I was hearing things, all sorts of stuff. And then, I was like, bump this. I was like, bump this. I'm going to walk through this house and clear this space. We do what we have to do. And in the room downstairs from where I was staying, you know how you have it's a square room, and when you go into a corner of the room and you look up, on the ceiling, there was a massive hole, like it almost looked like that house had ripped at its seams there, massive hole. And I could tell that was a huge portal. And when I look, and I'm using my eyes, by the way, I looked right through it, and I saw that there were entities and energies. It was like a void that was somewhere else. So what happens is these become pathways, like bridges for beings to come from anywhere. Now they're all up in your house running amok. And I remember the energy there, because I'm out here looking like, hello, is anybody there? I didn't ask that, but I looked up because I'm like, what the hell is this? And the being poked it, a being poked its head out and said something like, I can't remember, but it wanted me to what's the word? Oh my gosh. When you have an altar and you make offerings, it was like, I don't know if it said, I'll tell you, but you have to make an offering to me. And I immediately was like, pause, discernment. What high frequency being that is here to support your sovereignty, your health, well-being, and your personal growth, and in such a way that you can become a healed being and then create harmonic resonance for your community and help others to heal? Who would say, make an offering to me? Now, I know a lot of people believe in offerings, and especially when they're dealing with ancestral stuff and such, but that's just, and I'm not making a comment on that do you, but you have to understand that sometimes when we are, it could be when we are asked to do certain things, especially in a situation like that, it really takes discernment. You have to understand, take a moment and stop, and you think to yourself, who's the most benevolent being I know? Who's the most loving being I know? Who it could be on this planet, like, your grandmother or something. And who's the most ethical person, or someone who's the kindest, the most compassionate and loving and really caring to help others. Use that as your standard. Would this person ask me, who's just concerned and looking like, what's going on in my house? It wasn't my house, but you get what I'm saying. To do that, it felt icky, it felt creepy, it felt gross. Anyway, so I had to stand there and really seal up that space. And it was the energy that was blasting off of it. So here's the reason why I guess we went into that story time, because we're vibrational beings, and we have to understand there is hygiene that is involved. Hygiene isn't just spraying your body and wash my armpits, all that stuff. No, it's understanding that you're a vibrational being, and what you allow yourself to be a vibrational match to is what you're going to get, and it's going to manifest in your physical world. Now, the problem here is allow. The word allow. People are like, but I wouldn't allow anything like that to happen to me. But you allow these things when you listen to certain music that carries certain frequencies. You allow these things when you consume other types of media, when you're sitting in front of the TV watching all day about CNN and MSNBC and Fox and this and that post and that this. There are different ways to go about educating yourself. For example, sitting in front of a TV and then going out and having these emotion-filled arguments that your local energy reader, me, would look in and be like, oh, I see this energy thing is toxic in your field. This isn't even your belief. Let's pull that out, and you're done, right? You're carrying these things. And then a lot of us are living in homes that are haunted. We don't realize it. The land could be haunted because it's carrying energetic frequencies. Let's change the language, because when we say haunted, suddenly people, it taps into a defined knowledge base already. So you'll be like, oh my God, a haunted boogeyman and this and that and the devil and no. So we want to use discernment and avoid the labels that have been used to train you before, and speak in terms of energy. A lot of people are in spaces where the energy is dense. And there are many reasons why the energetic space could be dense through the things that you're watching, the things that you're eating, the people that you invite into your space, the emotions that you're carrying, beings that are coming in and out. Some beings are just wandering around. Look, we're all sharing the space, right? We're all sharing the space. You're interdimensional, just like this. You're an interdimensional being, just like you. This is you. Super cute. But look at all these different levels, right? Those are different dimensions, but it looks like one pocket. So when you come into my Zoom room, because it's a Zoom room, right? My office. When you come into my virtual office, I'm talking with you, but we're working on your field interdimensionally. Right? The guides are also popping in to say there are things in the water that are contributing as well to the low frequencies, okay? I haven't done research on this, so I don't really know. But as we know, thank you. They're saying to remind ourselves that water itself can be programmed. It's programmable. Remember, Dr. Emoto talked about that, and he made a groundbreaking study where he showed that different vials of water or vessels of water were labeled with different things like positive, negative words, and clearly some water turned out to be cleaner as a result, to be cleaned as a result, and some were toxic under the microscope because of this. Anyway, it's a groundbreaking study. Go check it out. But if you have your water in your house, you have a beautiful picture of water hanging out, and you just had this argument with your husband, or God knows who else was in your house. Your friend came over for a slice of cake, and they're just vibing low, and you're out there gossiping with them and enjoying, but they leave, and you're like, bye, and you're friends, and it happens. We all have friends, right? But then you're drinking that water that was just hanging there. And now you're drinking the essence of toxicity. So the guides are saying that, and they're saying especially when it's located in lands that are spilled with blood. Now let's talk about that. Everywhere in the world has been spilled with blood at some point, but not everywhere in the world has the dense frequencies of unprocessed, unreleased energetic codes there, like from that's a whole nother topic. Okay, long story short, you are frequency beings. You live amidst frequencies. So understanding how to get into optimal health and well-being for this age is incumbent upon you. And as you do so, you will start to see that you will take your power back from the institutions, all of the institutions actually. You will be healthier, you will be in a better frame of mind, and you will be in your heart space, and you will be able to give to others, and you will create harmonic resonance around you that is healthy, calling those who are able to resonate with that and detracting those who are not. And you will, from that place, be in the right frame of mind, the right heart of mind, the right will of mind to be able to connect with our galactic cousins as they come through. Remember, our galactic cousins are vibing at higher frequencies, a lot of them that do assist us here on this planet. And the thing is that why humanity as a whole is seen as not say babies is well, because the earth is kind of new compared to the whole universe and compared to the other universes that are around. But also look at what human beings do. We don't know how to use our energy fields. We're killing each other. We're hurting each other. We're gossiping. We're creating music with tones and frequencies that are creating disruption in the field. There are all sorts of stuff. And so that's why we get these lovely technologies, whether it's ChatGPT or whether it's nuclear energy, which has allowed for a lot of wonderful things in society, whether it's ammunitions that have allowed for wonderful things in society, whether it's fire, these things are neutral. But what has happened is over time, they have been approached by the immature species. It's an immature species that is not able to understand how to use things for the benefit of all, because people don't, generally speaking, collectively speaking, as a society, we are conditioned out of caring for anyone else. So there's a sense of selfishness that comes into our societies, and this is a little bit of a problematic word to use, because, and the guides are saying that yes, it is, because it's not that people are always selfish and this and that, because there's such a great deal of just lack of awareness. And that is the conditioning and the deprogramming, the programming out of ourself that we've had over generations, thousands of years. And so this is the beauty of the age of Aquarius. When you hear your local readers talking about it, and your collective consciousness, conscious readers, collective energy readers who are just reading the energies of the collective consciousness. And when you hear your astrologists talking about these things, they're talking about things that need to be paid attention to. This is the missing link, 53 minutes, 53 seconds, to get you out of the abyss of conditioning and low vibrational frequency living, and to understand that the greatest obstacle to you right now is your lack of importance that you place on it. When people start to understand and they make the connections about why this is important, why it's important to care for their vibrational selves, why it's important to care for the vibrations of the planet, why it's important to care for the vibrations of the air, when they start to understand that they're vibrational beings, and so therefore they understand that there's more than one way to beat ailments in the body, and they understand that there are vested interests in our societies that keep us out. The guides are saying capitalism. They're capitalistic, and other types of things too, right? They're not making an advocacy for any one economic system or thought, but capitalism, right? Where there's a dollar to be made, many people will sell their souls for it. 54 minutes, 54 seconds. But the thing about it is, when people do that, they are also, again, vibrational beings. And so because they're embodying that frequency, guess who else they are sullying with it, right? And we see this. This is why when we have children, it's not often what you say, but what you do that is in training your kids. Because kids learn by acquisition. That's different from learning, right? They acquire knowledge as opposed to learning knowledge. You learn later, but you acquire things. You're programmed. And so it's time. So anyway, this is what the guides are bringing through today. There's so much more. And I know I keep saying that we have so much more information coming out, and we do. It's just about us doing a lot of the work on the back end right now. So in the meantime, just feel free to come back and continue to receive whatever information is coming through these readings. But this is what's coming through, 55 minutes, 55 seconds for the month of July. It's the considerations that we're being asked to do, because you are the spotlight, and you always have been the spotlight, but you've been trained to get the spotlight off of you and to get into modes of worshiping beings and entities and quote unquote deities and messengers and this and that. Always remember that the true messengers, their messages have been distorted. By the time it reaches your ears, it's been distorted, because there are so many people and so many hands that go into deciding what goes into whatever text, how they're edited, how they're transmitted, to whom they're transmitted, what information is redacted or not even input. We see this in the school systems, but it does pervade throughout society en masse, throughout the generations, throughout thousands of years. So if you really would like to connect to the word or source or the spirit and the love that was coming through these lovely messengers, you'd close your eyes, you get into the heart space, and you connect, and that's where your journey starts. It's not to say we disavow anything and we dismiss everything. No, it's about understanding that you're taking back your point of reference, you're bringing yourself back to self, and you're redefining what you are. What are you? You are a vibrational being. That's a new language to use, and it's more accurate. You're a vibrational being, and so you navigate this planet by way of vibration. You interact with your energetic space by way of vibration. You consume things that are vibrations, and when you consume those things, they change your vibration. You speak onto other people and with other people, about other people, and as you do so, you're releasing frequencies, you change their vibration. So you have to understand that the guides are asking us to rise in frequency. Rise! Okay, I added that last part, 57 minutes, 57 seconds, but to rise in frequency. And the great missing link is this. Do people believe in it? You have to get over your conditioning to deride such knowledge so that you can get to what counts. So get over the old conditioning. Then Then after you're able and you're like, I believe it, okay, I believe it, God, okay, jeez. The next thing is, what do I do? And this is the beautiful thing about it. What you're going to do next is free. It's always been free. It's always been free. It's release. Release what you think you know and start to explore what you really are. Practically speaking, what does that look like? Closing your eyes, sitting down. You can turn off your music. Give yourself time. Sit wherever you want. Close your eyes and just relax. Just relax. Whatever you need to do is not going to come by way of overstimulation, by way of something vying for your attention, whether it's through ads or through sound or through visuals. It's not going to be that. It's not going to be someone touching you, pawing at your energy field. It's not going to be that. You're going to, that's the part of the release. You release the ways that you conceive and the way you receive energies. So get lost to society for a second. I'm not even saying go out into the woods. I'm saying just go offline, get lost for an hour or two. And just sit and close your eyes and feel your hand. Can I feel my hand? If I'm just sitting here, can I feel it? Feel your feet. What's coming up for you? Are you hungry? Are you what? So what you're doing is then you're connecting to what is. That's what is. What you see on TV is not what is. What you just heard passing by is not what is. The shock that you received when the wind blew and you thought about something, that's not what is. What is you. You are what is. So get back into that space. Disconnect. Notice what thoughts come up. Things about what you have to do, things about what happened last night, things about what happened in your life. All of these, just allow them to come up. Understanding that you're a vibrational being and that as a vibrational being, you're holding many different vibrations. And your job is to become aware of them, to befriend them, to understand them. And as you do so, then you can start asking yourself, what would I like? Who am I? That's when you really start investigating. A long time ago, people looked outside of themselves to ask, who am I? And they started trying to learn about who they are in relation to their world and their environment. They looked up at the stars and they asked, who am I? They looked in this religious text and they asked, who am I? And they looked at each other and their family and they asked, who am I? But very few people really understand that you don't need anything outside of you. So that's why it's always great to just close your eyes. Close your eyes and shut off the world outside of you and get into this space and understand that the answer to your question is never, ever, ever, ever going to come from outside of you. At most, that's only going to reflect back to you something. And then you have to delve into that and understand what it, blah, blah, blah. You instead turn your attention inward. You get quiet, you get silent, and you do that. And that is your mainstay. And you may not come up with an answer that's in that sitting, but it doesn't mean you abandon it. It means that you understand I'm on the right path. And I'm going to keep dedicating my time to this to understand, because the answers will come. You're just on your way out of the programming that you've been. If people can build whole monuments to beings that came on Earth a long time ago and have since then wanted to probably change the way that we're thinking about some of what they're saying. If you can dedicate your whole life to being a fan of some team somewhere, some sports team somewhere that doesn't even know your name, doesn't care about you, and doesn't care if you live or die. If you can dedicate your life to imbibing certain substances and this and that and spend so much money, whether it's coffee every morning, I mean, shout out, I'm kind of digging at myself because that's kind of me, but or whether buying a pack of cigarettes every day. If you can dedicate yourself to a lover who doesn't give two blinks about your life, you see what I mean? People dedicate themselves. We have time. You have nothing but time here on this planet, but it's limited because you're in a limited vehicle, your body. All the other vehicles that you're in, your non-physical bodies, are not limited, but this one is. And so it requires you to kind of make use of the time that you have. And honestly, let's put it this way. I'm not making a call for people to become ascetics or to disavow their family or cut their hair and move to, a place in the world that no one knows it. It's not even about that. If you even took 1 hour out of your day, every day, That's 7 hours a week. If you even took 5 minutes out of your day to stop, to just stop where you are, even you can do this. I'm going to close my eyes and do this. Stopgap. I'm stopping the inflow of toxic energies. I'm stopping the stimulants that are coming into my energetic space. And you just spent 5 minutes doing that, not at a light, because a light is faster, but somewhere, anywhere. What you're doing is you're building a habit of saying to yourself and to the universe, this is important to me. Finding out who I am is important to me. And I understand that I will never find out who I am by interacting with all the stuff of the world. You can glean who you are. Yes, we can read poetry. We can get lost in it. We can have experiences out in Kilimanjaro. We can watch things and see how other people, have lived their lives. And this is wonderful information. You'll come back and you'll process it. But they're not to replace that primary knowledge that comes from getting quiet. And the reason why people fail to understand this is because they do not have a belief that there's something within them worth exploring. If you understood that in order to really have deep exploration, you can go right inside of yourself, you would start to see, oh, there is something in there. There is value for me to sit and just sit. Because a lot of people keep thinking that the value is going to come in what they believe it should come as. They're like, well, if I close my eyes and I sit here, I should hear something, right? I should feel something, right? I should have a fluttering of wings. I should come up with a decision of what to do with my life. It's not about that. You have to release your expectations. And as you start to get conscious in a more sophisticated way of energy and of yourself and of your role and your place in all that is, you may start to realize I actually have no role, right? I'm a being, I'm this, I'm that. You start to realize these things, but the most important thing that you start to realize is that you understand that part of leaving behind the old programming, the old ways of doing things, the old ways of thinking also means that you leave behind the old ways of language. You start to understand that you keep expecting spirit or whatever it is to show up for you in recognizable patterns. And so you may not realize that that is something you also need to release. You need to release that and just put yourself in the pathway of receiving. And that's simple, it's free, it's your birthright, and it's effective. You just sit down, you get quiet, and you dedicate the time over time. And if you do nothing else with your life, you decide to take 5 minutes each day for the rest of your life to sit and try, I guarantee you will start to experience amazing things. Okay? So anyway, I'm going to leave it at this because you guys know me. I could go on forever and, well, what are we doing with that, right? So anyway, if you'd like to work more personally with me and on everything, because we do everything, thanks guys, then you know where to find us. And I just want to thank all of our teachers. They're here. They've been speaking through me. I don't know if anyone can perceive the shift sometimes, but thank you so much to them, and thank you so much to your spirit teams, and thanks to you guys listening. And with that said, I bid you adieu. Oh, wait, sorry. If you're still here, hi. The guides were reminding us of the importance of washing our feet. Now, when I've had clients before, sometimes I've had to tell them this, and it's not that their guides are shouting out, like, dude, you need to wash between your toes. It's not that. They're saying that there's a lot of accumulation of grief right now, because right now we're thank you guys, we're clearing the energies from our field, and it's very, very important to clear the lower parts of the body, like especially the legs and the ankles and the feet. Energy gets stuck there, and you'll know if this is you also because you tend to get stagnant in your life. One day, this was like 2 weeks ago, no, excuse me, it was last week. I was so stuck in my life, guys. I was stagnant and I was stressed out and everything, and I just went in my car and just hung out, like, and sat there and was just massaging my calf muscles and hoping no one walked by and thought I was weird, and just doing that with every stroke I did, I was channeling high frequency energy into there, which you can do as well. Please know, you can do that too. You just ask, please, universal energy field, please, source energy, flow through me so that I can heal my body. And then you can say, hit it, God, and action. And don't worry about what it feels like, or if you're registering any energies flowing. It is flowing. Whether or not you're perceiving of it is a different question altogether. And again, as we know, you would probably have to change your diet, this and that, and live a different way for you to become more perceptive to the nuances, or you may feel it. But either way, I was just rubbing it and going where I felt like I needed to go, and I could feel grief coming up, energies coming up, things flashing before my eyes, so I knew I was clearing that. And when I left my car, it was like an hour later because I had a lot to do. When I left my car, like, things really started picking up for me. Okay, so anyway, that's what the guides are saying. Wash your feet mindfully with the intention of clearing. You could do this in the shower. Just, you're already washing your legs, hopefully, and your feet, hopefully. And just as you do that, just feel into them and ask that they be cleared, and let the water flow through you. And I always program the water coming through my faucet to have cleansing effects and clearing effects, not only on my physical body, but also on the different levels of my field. Because look, we out here, what are we doing? This is the age of Aquarius. We're taking multi-dimensional showers. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave you at that. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me. And God is good. God bless you. Bye.